everybody? It's Craig, and welcome back to Doc's Daily, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every day, 11 o'clock on Saturdays. You get a special show, so make sure you tune in tomorrow. You get Lenny and Griffin, and they're taking all your questions. We always try to cover everybody's questions, but especially lead up to college football on Saturday. It's the biggest show of the week, so make sure you check in on that. Really good content there. Don't forget, if you haven't done so, take care of bills here. Get on that free $60 account. People always say, hey, how do you get our best plays? Very simple. Go over to the website, docsports.com/free60. All new customers get $60 put into your account by just signing up, and you can use that however you like on the site. If you want to buy a long-term pass, you just want our daily plays. Top plays are $30 per day. You can get in per sport. So you do how you want to use it. Also, don't forget about our premium products here at YouTube. We have 3 different levels. You click the link in the description. Anywhere from $4.99 up to $49.99 tells you all you have to know, all the details you need to know. And like last night, we had a nice we do an in-game halftime in-game show on most Mondays and Thursdays. Me, Indian Cowboy, and Lenny. Well, it's not always all 3 of us, but so make sure you check that out. If you're a member, you get in on that. You don't even have to be in the top level. That happens at $4.99 level. Okay, let's talk sports. Hey, my Reds finally won a game. Yay. Oh, we're still 1 game back. Still 1 game back. 3 games to go, or 3 games to go for everybody. Got some exciting races. Robert and Nick here to hopefully maybe figure out some stuff here. And then we'll talk a little football as well. But before we get to everything, let's talk about top plays. Nick, you have any top play for tonight?
Not today, but we have a massive weekend coming here. We got CFL will be a top play tomorrow, as well as a 3-pack in college football there, including a 6-unit best bet that starts at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we got UFC back tomorrow, action Saturday. So full slate, and obviously Sunday we got another 3-pack. So volume is picking up on my side here over the weekend, looking to have a massive weekend, Craig.
Yeah, I always say this is about the time. Robert, you probably will agree with me, as we get a lot more data. We're a month into the season now for basically both college football and the NFL, a little more actually for some teams in college football. But we got tons of data, which means a little more plays for most handicappers. I see when I looked at the board yesterday, I saw a little more action out on some guys. I know Robert's like, he doesn't wait till week 4 or 5. He's got plenty of picks for you. What do you have this today or this weekend?
I'm taking a big shot today, as a matter of fact, a big baseball shot. I have a 7-unit MLB play, but I also released a 7-unit MLB series price. That's under daily props. So my 7-unit play and the series price are both in the same series, meaning, we win game 1 tonight, we're probably going to win that series. So we're going to double dip, both plus money value. So taking a big shot today. I think I'm on to something, and I'm kind of pushing my chips in the middle of the table with that. My top football play. It's funny. I was thinking about this today. Like, I have a 7-unit college football play on Saturday and a 6-unit NFL play on Sunday. But I think I'm going to look back. I've had 6 of 7 winning weeks, right? And I think when I look back on this season, I'm going to be kicking myself for not being more aggressive during this time with some more highly rated plays, because I had that 7-unit college play, then everything else is 2 units, right? Because when you've had 6 of 7 winning weeks, there's kind of only one direction to go, right? Like you feel up here and the pendulum's going to swing back the other way. So it's almost like I'm bracing for impact. I know that losing week is coming. That's not a good attitude to take. When you're hot, you gotta be more aggressive, I feel like. So I think when I look back at my season, I'm going to wish I had been a little bit more aggressive during this time period, but nobody cared about that little digression, but there you go. That's my mentality.
Hey, or maybe you're seeing the board so good that you're like, hey, maybe this is the week that you regress a little bit, maybe hit your top play and some of these other ones. I always say I'm always careful when people say, hey, what do you like? I'm like, well, I like my top play. And then, the lesser rated plays is I try to make it so that if I hit my top play for the week, I almost guarantee I kind of win for the week, if you know what I mean. If I hit the top 2 plays in football, I win for the week. So I try to make the units like that. So, just each capper does something a little different. So find your favorite capper, go over, and it's a week pass is $99, by the way, for football. That does not include Canadian football. So I do have a 7-unit play in Canadian football. People are like, well, I'm not getting the Canadian football play about your week pass. They're 2 separate sports here. We do college football and NFL as one sport. That's football. Canadian football is its own sport, and I do have a 7-unit play tonight. I've been hot in Canadian football. This is probably the last play I have for Canadian football as far as top play for the year. I always think the last few weeks of the season and the playoffs, I think in the CFL are absolutely ridiculous. Like I've just learned that I have to scale back once that happens. So America, there you go. All right, let's talk baseball. We'll get it out of the way. Nick, we've got the Yankees and the Blue Jays fighting for the division there. Dead heat with 3 games to go. You've got the wild card race. Well, we got the Detroit Lennies. We got the Tigers and the Guardians. Dead heat there. Then we have the wild card there as well. So those winners and Houston, those basically are fighting for one spot as a wild card. And then you have the only thing in the National League that's really left undecided is the last wild card spot. Mets are up 1 game on my Reds and 1 game, or is it 2 on Arizona? 2 on Arizona,
2,
right?
because they lost. Yeah, they got pounded yesterday.
Yeah, it was kind of weird that they moved Zach Gallen back yesterday. And we're like, hey, we were going to have to go 1 bullpen game, and they were like, basically, we weren't going to beat the Dodgers anyway, so let's go the bullpen game yesterday. But now you have to have help. Like you have to have both teams in front of you lose 1 game and 2 games. And actually, I think they don't own the tiebreaker even against the Reds. So they would need the Reds to lose 2, them win all 3, and the Mets. I believe. I
think they're done. Wednesday got them. Like my only play yesterday was the Dodgers on the run line. That Wednesday game in Arizona where they scored 3 runs in the bottom of the 8th to send it to extra innings, and then they lose in extra innings. Like I
11th,
felt like
right? They lose in 11th.
Yeah. I felt like that was their moment. If they had been able to steal that game, then they could have ridden that momentum. But they lose that game. They get pounded yesterday. Like they were never really in that game yesterday. Now being 2 games back with a team that you have to jump over, like Arizona's done. I can see them losing tonight and then just kind of crumbling for the weekend.
The Reds have all the tiebreakers, FYI, on any of those games. The Arizona actually has a tiebreaker against the Mets. The Mets have to win outright. The Mets have no tiebreaker against anybody, so they really need to win all 3 games to ensure they win. If they go 2 or 3 and the Reds win 3, the Reds will get in. Obviously, if Diamondbacks are tied with just the Mets, they would get in. Like you said, I just don't understand why you he was like, hey, the manager said this. This is crazy that you would say this to your team. We were going to have to go 1 bullpen game. We actually thought the best chance for us to win the other games was, well, of course, it's better to not have Zach Gallen against the Dodgers. But the bullpen wasn't going to beat the Dodgers most likely. Like, I don't know. Like, that was a must win. You had to win yesterday so that these games even matter this weekend.
It's not like Zach Gallen has been that good either. You know what I mean? Like, what are you losing by throwing your best punch with him? Like,
But when you say that,
I think they're done. Yeah, they're done.
When you say that to your team, it's like, I'm pretty sure you just said we can't win on Friday. like I don't know what you're doing here. All right, Nick. What do you like today here in Major League Baseball's? I always say be careful. Robert said it yesterday. These teams need to win for a reason. They have been up and down all year long. Like these bottom guys at the division are basically 500 teams. So be careful today. Just because teams need to win, they don't always win when they need to win at the end of these. What do you like, Nick, today?
Yeah, I'm going with a team here today that just needs to win. It's in the AL East. It's not the Yankees here, but it's the Toronto Blue Jays. I really think they just need to win outright. Obviously, they do so, but in this game particularly because the Yankees play Baltimore here today at home with Warren on the mound. They've been playing really good baseball, so there's no room here for error for the Toronto Blue Jays. You got one of your best arms on the mound here in Shane Bieber. I like him to take care of business in this Toronto Blue Jays team. Well, I don't need to emphasize on what they're playing for here. They're going to put the bat to the ball here. I like them on the run line against the Tampa Bay Rays at home in this series the weekend with a weekend you need to sweep. So I like the Blue Jays here on the run line, Craig, against the Tampa Bay Rays.
I kind of looked like this one first 5 innings minus a half a run. Bieber's just like, I think he's going to have a great game. Like I really, no matter what happens with Bieber in the postseason in Toronto, I think this dude's setting up for a really big 2026. He's looked really good. Obviously, this shortened season with the injury, but like any interest in the first 5?
I would say so, yeah, because Shane Bieber's on the mound. I'm all over Toronto Blue Jays. I just think they do pound this Tampa Bay Rays team. And you saw it yesterday against the Boston Red Sox there. The offense came alive. They looked great. against the Red Sox. So I'm all over these Toronto Blue Jays first 5 full game and team total over, baby.
All right, Robert, any other game you like maybe have circled today on a little lesser play than your 7 unit?
Love it. Like that play on Toronto, Nick. I 100% agree. Hauser hasn't been the same guy since he's come over from the White Sox either. He was really, really good at the beginning of the year, and he's been kind of a dud since getting to Tampa Bay. Yeah, I like Cleveland. I'll take another team that's in a must-win situation. The only reason it didn't make my card is I didn't want to lay the run line, and that -155, -160 is kind of at the ceiling of what I wanted to play. But I do feel good about it. I feel really good about it. I talked about this a little bit yesterday. Texas is one of those teams they've given up on the season. They've quit. Yeah. A month ago, they were in the middle of the race, the postseason race. Things didn't go well for them. Once they realized that they're not going to the playoffs, like they've completely given up. They lost 8 in a row. They've lost 9 of 10. They just lost a home series to the Twins, who are awful. And that came after they got swept at home by Miami. Like they are completely mailing it in, and they're facing a Cleveland team that is the hottest team in baseball. They've won 17 out of 20 games. They lost yesterday, but they've actually gone 4-0 in their last 4 games after a loss. Like they haven't lost 2 in a row during the streak of winning 17 out of 20. The pitching matchup is pretty much a wash. Like Slade Sassone, he's really hit or miss. He's either really, really good or really, really not. I think he's going to be good today against a Rangers team that's averaging 2.6 runs in their last 11 games. So however you feel comfortable played, if you don't mind laying the 160, I like the money line personally. I'm not scared of the juice because you only pay the juice if you lose. Or if you want to just take a stab at that run line and look for a blowout ball, I definitely think Cleveland wins today.
I know we don't give out a whole lot of alternate run lines, the -1s. This game has -1 written all over it because I do think they win by 2. But for people that don't know, you bet the alternate -1. If they win by 1, you get your money back. So it's kind of a little safer way. It's basically like if you bet, it almost is exactly this. If you bet $100 on the money line and $100 on the -1.5, that's basically what -1 is at most books. So it just saves you having to bet both of those. So I like that as well. It actually is on my card today. I like Cleveland -155. When I bet it last night myself, it was 146 or something, and it's continually. And I expect, Robert, this is probably going to end up like -164, 5, like because, like you said, the teams that have to win,
you're paying a tax on them.
You pay the tax. And the closer to game time, the more the tax is. So if you like these teams that need to win, in quotation marks, bet them early, like the night before. You're going to get the best line as that game goes to close time. You're going to get that. I actually, like I said, this one made my card. I also think today, on a team that doesn't need to win, the Atlanta Braves -1.5. The Atlanta Braves are playing great baseball, and I think they just want to keep this momentum up. I mean, they're not going to get to 500. They're not playing for anything like that. It's just like, hey, let's be good. Because if you look at this team, these pieces are good enough to win next year. This momentum, I think, will help pay off next year. Lay the -1.5. The Pirates are, I know they beat my Reds 2 of 3, but that was like a division thing. Like, hey, maybe we can keep the Reds out of the playoffs. What do you have to play for? You're playing a Braves team that, No.
Also, I live in Atlanta normally. I'm in Florida this week, but I live in Atlanta. There's been a lot of talk about Brian Snitker over whether or not he's going to be fired, let go. Longtime guy with the Braves organization. I think a little bit of this late run from them is the players kind of being like, look, it's not his fault. Like, don't punish him because we had a bad year. Like, we haven't given up. We haven't tuned him out. Like, I think they're playing hard because they love their manager. So I agree with you. I could see them sweeping all 3 of these games this weekend and just ending on a tear because they're trying to make a statement to the front office.
I hope they keep him because I thought there were some bad, like they had a terrible start. Like if you take that, I mean, you can't, obviously every game counts, but if you take that terrible start they had and you get away with it, they would literally be 500 fighting for the last wild card right now. But obviously that didn't happen. So I like Atlanta today -1.5. It's one of those, if you like -1.5, I might sprinkle a little on the -2.5 even because I think this one is if they win, I think it's a blowout because the Pirates' second straight road series. And like I said, when you're not playing your division opponents, like what else are you playing for if you're
right. They basically just went from being in a playoff series, playoff atmosphere, every pitch matters type of thing to now nobody cares. Like it's, these guys are already got their tea times and got their vacation times for next week and stuff like that. Like, yeah, they're looking past this weekend. The Braves.
Craig, what about the Reds plus money today? Any thoughts on that?
The Brewers need to win one game, right? They need to win one of the three to guarantee they win, that they get the overall best record, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But that doesn't really, they might not need to win any because, if Philly loses, right? Like, so.
I think that they are going into playoff mode right now because they know that they're taking a series off, right? So I think that the calculus for them is going to be, look, we can't mail it in this weekend and then not play for a week and then show up and expect to be on. So I think that they are looking at this, and I think they are going to throw their best punches at the Reds. I think they would love to knock them out of the playoffs. I think it's important to them to play well heading into it. So if this is one of those things where Reds fans are thinking like, maybe they'll, rest some starters, or maybe they'll take it easy on us, that's not how I'm viewing this. So this whole weekend is about, hey, how seriously is Milwaukee going to take this, right? I think that they're going to play their best baseball, and I don't think that bodes very well for Cincinnati because, again, they're going to be off. And if they don't, if Milwaukee does start to do those kind of manipulating things on Saturday and Sunday, if they basically do kind of, let's say they win tonight, then mail it in the 2 games, I'm going to be looking to bet against them when they come back because I just don't think that teams can do that. You can't take like 10 days off just kind of dicking around and then expect to flip the switch in the playoffs.
If I remember right, the teams that have had the layoff have not boded well. Like,
correct, right?
This format,
right?
So no matter what you've tried, because it's just like when you're used to playing every day, when you do that for 5 months more, and all of a sudden, because you're really doing it in spring training too, so it's more like 7 months, and all of a sudden now you're off for this extended period of time. I just think and then you have to play the toughest teams in the league at like high pressure. I think that spells trouble. I do like the Reds in the series. I think they can win 2 or 3. Will that be enough? That means the Mets have to only win 1 of 3. I think it's possible. I don't think it's out of the question. This is the one I worry the most about if I'm the Reds. Like, this is the toughest, I think.
Well, don't the Reds have the tiebreaker on the Mets, Craig?
They do. So they would need to win
then
2.
If they go 1 and 3, that'd be tied. If they go 2 and 3, the Reds.
Right.
And they win 1 out of 3. Yeah.
I think you need to assume that the Mets might go 2 and 3. So the Reds pretty much need to win out. Maybe they get lucky and they win 2 or 3 and the Mets win 1 or 3 or 0 or 3. But I don't know. Like, I think the Marlins can win 2. I'm not so sure they can sweep them. So for me, if I'm the Reds, I'm like selling out tonight. You play this like a playoff game. Like, your pitcher's struggling in the 3rd or 4th inning. See ya. You bring in the bullpen in. You do whatever it takes. I mean, the Reds, like did you see the 9th inning catch that guy brings it back over the wall like that?
Yeah, that's nice.
That's the kind of stuff I will say that happens, and you kind of like, maybe someone else has something else for us.
I agree. If you're the Reds, every game has to be a game 7 right now because you can't forget to account for variable change, right? If the Mets lose tonight and the Reds win, okay, and then they go even, so that's going to put more pressure on the Mets also, and that changes the mentality of a team, and that tightens things up a little bit. So yeah, it's not just about the numbers, it's about putting pressure on human beings and seeing how they go. Sorry, King Koopa teed you up, Nick. This one's got you written all over. And the other guys that asked football questions, we will get to that stuff. Get to that stuff soon.
Cubbies all day, every day here. We got to go with the Cubbies.
Homer play? Is that a Menken homer play?
It is an overplay. Wrigley's blowing out there. I would go over, and obviously I'm going to go homer here. Go with my Cubbies. St. Louis, Milo Mikolas, been awful on the road this season. We got Colin Ray. Hopefully he has a couple good innings here. If you want to take him minus a half a run in the first 5 innings, that's probably my stronger play. So I would take him minus a half a run first 5 innings with Colin Ray. I just don't like Mikolas on the road either.
The funny thing, the Cubs or the Cardinals last series, they were like, they have players that are on extended contracts, and they're like starting them so they can give them a standing ovation and take them out for the game. I'm like, did you announce a trade early that I'm not aware of? Like, are you going to cut a guy that's making $27 million next year or something? You're just going to cut him? Like, what is going on here in St. Louis? I never thought I'd see the day where St. Louis is like waving the white towel. Even like when you're out of it, it's just like, I don't know. That just spelled like what's going to happen in the offseason. Maybe they've already came to a conclusion together, like, hey, they're going to buy him, like they're going to cut him, or they're just going to take him for, pennies on the dollar for somebody else. I don't know, but it doesn't bode well if you're the Cards trying to win this weekend, I think.
We got Kyle Tucker, too, back into the lineup. Hasn't played since September 2nd, so it's good to see him get in there and get a couple ABs before we start this playoff run in the wild card with the Padres there.
A little extra bonus tonight. I also think of the 3 games looking ahead for the Mets, because when you're a fan, your team's in it, you start to look ahead both for your team and the teams that you're playing against. Of the 3 games that I think the Mets can lose tonight is the one I think that they're most likely, and you get a sweet price with Alcantara. Now we know his expectations this year could not have been higher, and his performance probably couldn't have been more disappointing. But you only got to do it one time. Like you do not want to face it like a guy that has this kind of stuff when you need to win. So I do think tonight, of the 3, if there's someone out there, I would maybe sprinkle a little on that underdog price. All right, let's talk football. How about that? I think 2 really good games tonight. Like, you could argue that at least as far as the spread is concerned, even the 3rd game is interesting. And I know there's some people here with questions. We'll get to NFL, but let's talk college football tonight. Nick, any of these games tonight? Well, let's go with Robert first. Nick, you did win first. Any of these games tonight,
Yeah, I like Arizona. I like Arizona State. It's just that old chestnut, unranked team favored over ranked team. TCU is a team that I had them last week against SMU. They were really lucky to cover that game. It looked like they had a chance to lose that game outright. Josh Hoover, if you look at his numbers, they're fantastic. But watching this guy play, he's a questionable decision maker in my eyes. Arizona State is a team that I've been betting against, that I've been fading this year. I didn't like them coming into the season, but they still do have a veteran quarterback. A lot of the guys came back from that team that went on that run last year. I think they're going to be amped up here at home, prime time, Friday night, ranked team coming into their building. So long term, I don't love Arizona State. The schedule gets much more difficult for them after this, but in this one spot, I think they're catching TCU at a good time off a rivalry game. And again, I'm just letting the number be my guide. Arizona State's favored there. The public is going to see that tiny little number next to TCU's name and assume that they're the better team and taking the points. But I don't like that. So I'm taking Arizona State.
The one question I have about Arizona State is Mississippi State, and we don't know if Mississippi State's good, if that was a quality loss. We just don't know. We're going to find out this week, by the way. In that they play Tennessee, I think, right?
Yes.
So we're going to find out, is this team for real? Since then, Arizona State's looked good, but it's the one thing I do love the coach. Dillingham is that dude. If you don't follow him on Twitter, do it. Just I'm telling you, you want to run through a wall for a coach and for a program. I mean, this guy says all the right things. This is what college football should be if you're coaches, by the way.
You mentioned that Mississippi State-Tennessee game, by the way, and I feel like tonight's Virginia-Florida State game, they're almost carbon copies of each other, right? Are Florida State and Tennessee legit? Are they for real? Are these 2 home underdogs who have been kind of spry early in the season, both playing much better than anybody thought? They're catching a touchdown at home. It's almost like carbon copy games of one another. So it's going to be interesting to see. I like Florida State tonight. I think Virginia's better than people thought, but I thought that bar was extraordinarily low. Yeah. And I just think Florida State, they might be really good, and we just don't realize it yet. Sorry, Nick.
I also think Florida State, we don't know.
Not in your head. That might have been the one you wanted.
Because Alabama looks so bad in week 1, people are like, oh, well, is it Florida State or was it Alabama? We'll find out about Alabama this week, obviously at Georgia as well. So this is kind of a really big week. If you looked at the ranked matchups this week, this is one of the best weeks we've had in college football in a few years, to be very honest. I mean, it is ranked team versus ranked team versus ranked team. And now with the playoffs, expanded playoffs, it's not like you lose and you're out too, but this will have an impact on later in the year. Nick, do you think, I know you don't like Virginia, being a Virginia Tech boy, but there's a lot of people, I will say, I'm with Robert. I like Florida State, but there is a lot of sharps that I know that are on Virginia pretty big tonight. What's your opinion there?
Yeah, a lot of people will say this is a sandwich game, especially for Florida State, a look-ahead game because you got Miami rolling in next week. But Florida State is the much better team here, guys, and you're giving me under a touchdown here on the road. I get that Virginia has a high-powered offense, especially on that run game, but Florida State will stop this run from Virginia. You stop the run game on Virginia, well, this passing game, it's not going to be pretty for them here tonight. So I'm all over Florida State. Lay the -6.5. I think they easily cover this game. It's not going to be a look-ahead game for them. They're here to make a statement in the ACC, and it starts with Virginia this week, and I think they do so on a national stage Friday night against Virginia here.
Also, Nathan Cerna, I see you. I see you in the comments there. Their quarterback, Florida State's quarterback, is not Williamson. It's actually Nick Castellanos is who you're talking about. He is injured, but he is probable. He's fine. He got a boo-boo. He's going to play. He's all right. If he wasn't going to play, I think we see more of the number on that. But it's not really about Castellanos. Like, he's not a guy who's going to go out and throw for 400 yards anyway. It's just about the athletes that Florida State is bringing off the bus in this game. So, I wouldn't worry about that. I'm not worried about that quarterback issue. I'm with Nick. I just think Florida State's a lot better.
He was a transfer, just for everybody out there. He played at BC last year, really up and down year. So last year, I didn't know what to expect of him, and so far, so good. Obviously, you go from BC receivers and athletes to Florida State. That definitely helps. Because you got a better offensive line, you got usually great receivers and great running backs. So we'll see. This is his first big test on the road, so we'll see how he comes. And like Nick said, if they win this week, next week is going to be monumental because Miami is ranked second, third, fourth, like they're depending on what poll you look at. Florida State will be in the top 10 clearly, so 2 top 10 matchups with everything on the line. And the ACC with Clemson being down. Needs both of these teams to kind of look good, at least in that matchup. And then you throw Georgia Tech in. I'm not throwing Georgia Tech now out the window. Georgia Tech, who do they play this week? They're double digit.
Wake Forest. They're at Wake Forest. They'll take care
points
of them
this week at Wake. So, all right. Someone asked about Dart starting. I know Robert doesn't like rookie quarterback starting. I don't know what else the Giants really could have done, to be honest, because at that last series where Russell Wilson threw the ball out through the end zone, like instead of just throwing it up for grabs, he just literally threw it through the end zone. I mean, that was hard to swallow. As a bettor, as a fan, what do you think, Robert, with them moving to Dart?
You know what I'm going to say? Like, Jackson Dart, the quarterback isn't the problem. Like, the Giants are a pile of shit. Like, putting Jackson Dart in there isn't going to fix anything that's wrong with the Giants. It is not going to make a better offense. This is the perfect example of, like, people saw him make some nice throws during the preseason. And it's like, oh man, did you see that guy in the preseason? He's going to get put in here in the regular season against one of the top defenses in the NFL. And he's going to get demolished. Like, he's going to get embarrassed. I saw a stat about Jim Harbaugh against rookie quarterbacks. Rookie quarterbacks are 0-4 against him. They average under 200 yards passing, and they average about 13 points a game. Like, he is not going to fix anything with the Giants. He shouldn't be starting. Brian Daboll is going to be fired before the end of the year, as he should be. The guy is an awful head coach. He wasn't a good coordinator. Buffalo's better off without him. And this guy is making decisions on what you have as potentially your franchise quarterback. Like, this is going to stunt his development. He's going to go get embarrassed. He might get hurt. Like, this is a joke, but it all tracks for the Giants, right? Like, they're total losers and one of the worst organizations in sport. So this is just another short-sighted decision for them, and it's going to blow up in their face. They're going to lose by 3 touchdowns this weekend, and everyone's going to be like, "Oh man!" So now what do we have to be excited about? Like, it's stupidity piled on top of more stupidity. Other than that,
I'm going to say devil's advocate here. Russell Wilson has just been bad the last 4 years. Like that, they made the wrong decision getting Russell Wilson. That was the problem. It was like, dude, if they were going to go get a Pittsburgh quarterback, they should have went and got Justin Fields. At least you could say Justin Fields has a potential to be good with his talent and at a young age. We knew Russell Wilson's headed downhill at a fast trajectory rate.
Nothing else on that team is good. Their offensive line is terrible. They can't run the ball. Their defense is awful. Like, everyone talks about, like, oh, their front four, this and that. They gave up 40 friggin' points to Dallas the other week. They gave up 22 to Kansas City, and Kansas City basically wasn't even trying to score. Like, their defense isn't very good. Their receivers and their offense, nothing on this team is good. Like, they got a couple pass rushers. Okay, well, they can't cover anybody, and their linebackers are pathetic. They haven't had a good linebacker since LeVar Arrington. Like,
but I think if you put this defense on a team that controlled the ball a little more and didn't put them out there, they would look a little better. Unfortunately, I mean, they're going 3 and out a lot and putting their defense basically teams getting the ball midfield. The Kansas City, I really don't like Kansas City this week. More not they have not really looked great. They've just kind of played, and that last week was kind of that game should have never even been close late, and it was kind of like Giants had the ball twice to put it both in one score late. And of course, Russell Wilson throws the ball to the end. I mean, he hit the upright on the last play, and I was like, I don't think he's going to start next week. I was just saying that right then. I don't think he's going to start next week. Nick, there were some other questions out here. I believe
Bucks?
Was it the Bucks?
Philly? Yeah. Thoughts on the Buccaneers?
Yeah,
Philly?
the Bucks, Philly. What do you think here? I mean, the Bucks beat them last year, so everybody knows. So this is a revenge spot. And Robert, do you remember? It wasn't close, right? This was the one game Philly got beat pretty handily last year, right?
Early in the season, yeah. Yep.
Like 42-20 or something. I forget the exact.
And they had beaten them in the playoffs the year before that.
Yeah.
So Tampa Bay has kind of knocked them around a little bit, but I don't know.
But both teams, like last week, kind of had both of these teams last week, by the way, were in games with the blocked field goals returned for touchdowns, and they happened like back to back, right at the end of these games. What do you think in this matchup?
Yeah, this is a game that honestly I was looking through the slate on the premium side and I wanted nothing to do with it, but I will give you a lean. I mean, Baker Mayfield, if he's got the ball with under 2 minutes left and it's under a touchdown, that guy has ice in his veins. He's almost as good as a Tom Brady in the 2-minute game here. He wins you ball games. I don't care what you say. This guy is a winner. You look at it, obviously the Philadelphia Eagles, everybody knows about them here. -3 on the road. I'm back in these Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Maybe the Eagles do win this game by a field goal, but like I said, crunch time, Baker, he will do you right here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home. This is a big game for him, especially in the NFC. I would lean towards the Tampa Bay Buccaneers +3.5, and I like the over 44.5 points. I do believe we see a shootout here because the Eagles are going to have to throw the ball.
I actually have a rated play on the other side. I like Philadelphia. I think Tampa Bay is just a little too banged up. Mike Evans, that puts everything on the rookie receiver, missing offensive lineman, banged up on defense, and like the Bucs have won their games, but if you look back, they could very easily be 0-3 right now. If Atlanta doesn't miss that chip shot field goal, that game goes to overtime. Who knows? They got lucky against Houston on Monday. And then, I can't say that was a lucky win against the Jets because they were blowing them out and then things just went haywire in the last 4 minutes, but they still almost lost to the Jets. Houston's not very good, almost lost to them. Jets aren't very good, almost lost to them. Like, I don't think Tampa Bay is playing as well as their record, and Philadelphia's won 19 out of the last 20 games. Like, they get the benefit of the doubt for me. They're awesome. Like, they're the best team in football right now. So I feel like
they lost last week. And if they were to lose last week, I would have loved them this week. Sure. And I agree with you.
Is a win like that? How does a team that is really good like Philly? We know they're great. How does that team when you kind of get that miraculous win, because they kind of were sleepwalking through that game? They were down double digits the entire game. And came back and took the lead, and then like you said, probably should have lost. But maybe they even missed the field goal. Even if you don't block it, you never know. It wasn't like a chip shot. But is that one of those that you're like, okay, if we don't give our best at it, this is what can happen to us. This isn't a bad team. And they have double revenge. Like Robert said, they've lost to the last 2 times of this team. I will say this. Baker is one of those guys I hate betting against him because, like I knew when the Browns let him go, I'm like, dude, what are you doing? This is the first guy you've had that has like the cojones to play quarterback position, which you kind of need at times. And he kind of puts his team on his back, a little guy, but he does that.
Awesome as an underdog. Great as an underdog.
Yep.
I hate betting against him as an underdog. I think he's going to play well. Like I said, I just think that what is around him is just crumbling. They're just losing too many guys at too many key positions. And Philadelphia's healthy. I mean, say what you want about whether or not they're playing well. They've also played a pretty tough schedule, right? Like they went to Kansas City and beat Kansas City. Well, they probably shouldn't have won that game. They beat the Rams. Like, they're beating good teams. Tampa Bay is beating not good teams. And, Philadelphia's just healthier, I think. And, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose. It's a small play, but I'm just like, Philadelphia, man, until they cool off and start losing some games, it's like, why not bet them every week? 19 out of 20. Like I said, they're 15-5 against the spread during that 20 games too. So it hasn't been like, they haven't been
And
just
last game was the first game they passed the ball, and it was only because they were down. It's like, I think maybe that might have woken them up a little bit. Like, hey, let's open it up a little bit, make it a lot easier to run the ball if we spread the ball around a little more down the field, not just like throwing 5-yard screens all the time and out passes. AJ Brown is like a pretty freaking good player. And I will say this, Bucky Irving, like I expected a really big year. He's kind of had a little slow start. If they're going to stay in this game, they're going to need to control the ball. He is going to need to run the ball a little more successfully early in this game to keep Philly kind of like, off of Baker with a banged up offensive line. All right, so we gave a ton of free plays for you guys. Hope everybody tunes in again tomorrow, 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with Lenny and Griffin. They give you tons for an hour. They just talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. As long as, of course, Griffin doesn't have a premium play on it, he'll give you his opinion. Don't forget, if you want to, make sure you get in on the free $60. So that's $60 to use however you want. Robert has a 7-unit tomorrow, right, Robert?
Yeah, 7-unit baseball tonight, 7-unit prop tonight, 7-unit college football tomorrow.
And 6-unit on Sunday. Nick, you have 7-unit that I see on Sunday?
Sunday's a 7-unit, Saturday's a 6-unit.
Yeah, and then I have 7-unit CFL tonight, 7-unit college football late tomorrow in the Georgia-Alabama game. So people that want to play, it's on the that game, and I have a 6-unit on Sunday. So that's what we have. Use that free $60 and check us out. $30. It gets you 2 top plays from any of us. So make sure, 2 total plays, so 1 each maybe. All right, guys, have a great day. Hope all your bets are winning ones. Great games tonight. Make sure you tune in and watch these. You're not going to be disappointed. I think it's going to be all 3 good, decent games, at least for bettors.